E360 TV proudly presents Messages of Inspirational Stories, broadcasting and live streaming to millions of devices around the world, including Roku, and live streaming to Facebook Live, also on Amazon Fire TV, and to Twitch. Also, Android TV and Periscope. Broadcasting to Apple TV and YouTube Live. Proudly brought to you by our host, Donna Guinois, producer and host, Michaela Vidal, host and administrator, and Jim Grant, producer and host. Proudly brought to you by the 6minutewebinar.com.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to the Messages of Inspirational Stories. Jim?
Oh, yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
It is Friday. We are at the end of our week, but this has been a really fun week for us.
It really has been. It's been a great week for us on all fronts. And before the show, Donna told me, she says, Jim, if I hear you complain about one thing after the week we've had, I'm going to reach through this screen and I'm going to slap you. But really, we've had a blessed week, and we want to be able to share some good blessings with you folks. We hope that you can experience the energy that we've experienced in our lives when things come to us.
Absolutely.
It's just amazing. It took me a long time to learn this, but if I get my ego and I get my mind out of the way, my brain, which is a good thing to get out of the way, things come to you, don't they, Donna? They really do.
They do. And for me, one of the biggest things about when you are in any kind of alliance for business is checking your ego.
Oh, yeah.
Leave it at the door, because your ego will get in the way of what you are trying to accomplish and what everyone else there is trying to accomplish.
And how hard is it for the other people to pick up that you got an ego?
Oh, it takes about a New York second.
And when that happens, that just kills the mastermind principle. It kills the energy, because nobody wants to talk to or go up against someone that's got an ego.
Right.
Because it's going to be an argument. Yeah.
Right. Because, those kind of people are the ones that come in with, it's my way or the highway. I know everything. Y'all need to listen to me. There's nothing here that you've done that I can learn from.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
That will kill everything in your mastermind alliance.
It sure will. It's like trying to drink from a polluted spring. It just,
right.
It's 100% avoidable. It's also 100% unnecessary. And no one, anytime you run to people with ego, you normally just kind of like want to give them a wide berth and go around them,
Right.
And wish them well. Donna, we're in the middle. We just recently started the daylight savings times. I know some people are in favor of it and some people aren't. I'm not really in favor of daylight savings time. And I guess it's because in my heart, I'm kind of like a renegade. I don't like for some mechanical device on the wall to tell me when I should do A, B, C, or D. I roll to the beat of my own drums, But also, too, if you're a leader and you got people in your group, or if you got an alliance, and there are certain people just not morning people.
Right.
And, you want to be able to use good old-fashioned flex time. Pick a time where everybody can show up and be mentally alert. Because if you hold a meeting at 8:30 in the morning and you got 2 or 3 people in there that are not morning people, they're not going to be able to contribute to their potential.
True.
You set
Very
people
true.
up for success. And the way you find out about that, just ask some simple questions like, what time of the day do you feel like you're more productive? And they'll tell you, because everybody knows that. And as I said in the previous broadcast about me using flex time I didn't call it flex time, but I gave them prerogative. You can come in early, work late, or whatever. If you want to, take off a few hours extra or take off all of Friday, I don't care as long as the work gets done. And
Right.
that gave them their own prerogative. And
Mhm.
people like to make their own choices in life, don't they, Donna?
They do. And if you're in the position that you can do that, and of course there's lots of companies that you're not in the position to do that. But
Hmm.
when you are, what happens is that your employees appreciate it so much more,
Oh, yeah.
right? And that they're not being micromanaged. My God, there's
Hmm.
nothing I hate more than being micromanaged.
Oh, yeah.
Oh Lord, it's the biggest turnoff for me if someone wants to micromanage me.
You're absolutely right because it people feel like, well, I better not make that decision because someone's going to be looking over my shoulder or whatever.
Right.
And it's a energy killer. It's destroys creativity. And today we wanted to shift a little bit of a gear because we talked about Napoleon Hill, and he is the mastermind godfather, you might say, and he's the godfather of the positive mental attitude books. All the positive mental attitude books written, to my knowledge, they got their start after the authors read some of Napoleon Hill's writing, either Think and Grow
Hmm.
Rich or, oh, it's right here. Keep this book pretty handy. You've seen this book before. Success to a Positive Mental Attitude. This
I
is the
own
first,
that book.
yeah, this is the first one that I actually read many years ago, and you can see it's got some war rooms there. It's by Napoleon Hill on top and Mr. W. Clement Stone on the bottom. And Clement Stone is the one that always talks about, push your self starter, do it now. I like that.
Hmm.
That just kind of like kills procrastination. If you train your brain when you say, hey, do it now, get into action and do it.
Right.
And it's amazing how he also says, if you got nothing to lose by asking, then ask.
Right.
And that has opened a lot of doors for us here at the TV show because we had the courage to ask. We're not afraid to get the no answer.
Hmm.
As the old saying goes, like a salesman says, I like no's because that means I'm that much closer to a yes.
Hmm. Next opportunity. You
Yes.
know, and one of the things that is so important is when you mentioned this, you said, don't be afraid to ask.
Oh, yeah.
That is simply your ego protecting itself, right?
It is.
Because nobody wants to be told that they're dumb or stupid, but a proper alliance uh, mastermind with the right people, that will never happen. Let me just
Mm.
make that perfectly clear.
Oh,
There
yeah.
is no such thing as a stupid question, and
Hmm.
everybody needs to participate because everybody has skin in the game and everybody values each other. That's the importance of bringing the right people together.
Yes, ma'am. Donna, I couldn't have said that any better. So I'm just going to say what Donna said for me. But it's also critical and it's very important for people to know, as we said before, they're in a safe environment because people got to feel safe to open up and
Mhm.
share their feelings. And Donna, one of these, Napoleon Hill made a list of 17 success principles.
Oh,
And
those are fabulous.
oh, we felt it was very important. Some of you who read the writings will already be familiar with these. Some of you will hear this for the first time, but all of us need to hear it from time to time.
Well, and what I love about talking about the Alliance of Masterminds
Mhm.
is it doesn't just work with business, Jim,
Oh no.
right? Especially when you have teenagers at home
Mm.
and they're in that, you don't know anything stage. And I know everything. And oh, yeah, I'm invincible. I mean, everybody, we've all been there, right?
Mm. Oh yeah.
And some of us,
Yeah.
some of us were a little harder headed than the others, I'll just say.
Yeah.
But it works the same way.
It sure does because, like, some kids, want something. Mom or dad might say, "We don't have the money." Well,
Hmm.
can't you write a check? Kind of like, well, duh. Why didn't I think of that? But
It
just
was
amazing. Go ahead.
Well, it was funny because, I've talked about this openly on the show before. I was a single
Hmm.
mother with 3 children. And honestly, when my kids would be wanting money and there were bills to be paid, I would literally sit them down, and it wasn't the once or twice question. It was the ones were hounding, the hounding question. I want it. I want it. Can I go? Can I have it? And I would literally sit them down and show them my paycheck and say, okay, this is what, this is my gross. These are the taxes. Now, this is the chunk that I've taken out for insurance for all of us.
Hmm.
And then this is the amount I'm taking out, putting back into savings for, my future. So this is what's left. And then I would lay out my bills and say, these are the bills that are due. This one is due tomorrow. This one's due 3 days from now. This one's due next week. This is how much money we have.
Hmm.
Now, what do you think I should do?
Hmm.
And I didn't do it in a mean way, but it was, they were old enough to understand, there's only so much stretch in a paycheck.
Yeah. You're exactly right. There's only so much slack in the chain. Once the slack comes out, that's it.
Right. But that gave them an insight, and it actually
Mhm.
became a small mini mastermind because
Mhm.
then they could see what was right in front of them. And then when I said, what do you think I should do?
Yeah, you get input from them.
Exactly. I
Because
had
that,
their buy-in at that moment.
yeah, because that's what a mastermind's about. It's getting people to buy in.
Hmm.
And you want to start with the first principle there, the 17 principles. You want me to do it, or?
I'll start.
All right, ladies first. Go right ahead.
Definition of purpose. So having a definite purpose is the starting point of all achievement.
Hmm.
Without a purpose and a plan, people will drift aimlessly through life.
Mm. And I really like that because that is the starting point of all achievement, the definiteness of purpose. You got to know where you're going. It's kind of like getting in a car and you're going to go on a vacation. You're
Right.
definitely going to know the route you're going to take. Or, if you're going to plan a trip by airlines, you know what airport to go to, that sort of thing. It's very,
Right.
very important. And, Donna, when it comes to a mastermind alliance, we've been talking about that yesterday and today. We've hammered it quite a bit. But the mastermind principle, it always consists of an alliance. That's a key word, an
Mhm.
alliance of two or more minds, two or more people working in perfect harmony. And I'd
Absolutely.
like for us to talk a little bit in just a moment about perfect harmony, what that means. And that's for the attainment of a common, definite objective.
Right.
Success does not come without the cooperation of others. But how important is it to have harmony in an operation, in a project or whatever? Mm.
Well, you have to, because honestly, think about it this way. If you have 10 people,
Hmm.
and not counting yourself, and one of them doesn't want to go with the overall general consensus of the other 9 and says, no, it won't work. No, my way's better. Aren't you understanding this? Why are you so thick headed?
Hmm.
You have just, that person has derailed the entire thing.
Yeah. I heard it explained one time. It's like going down the road. You got 4 tires on your car, and all 3 wheels are in perfect balance, but one wheel is out of balance.
Bump, 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 bump.
That's the one you're going to feel.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. And it's true because the alliance has to be at absolute core level
Mhm.
of we are here for the sole purpose of growing and learning together and from one another.
Mhm. They give an interesting exercise here, and I'm just going to go over these 6 questions very easily about the definition of purpose. And you can do this with your team. Number one, you can say, as a child, back in my younger days, what experiences were the most memorable for them? This will give you background on people. You'll be surprised what people will share with you.
Right.
As they write, as a child in my younger days, my experiences were, this is what I was the what I experienced the most memorable. Ask them, who is your idol and why do you admire this person? That really opens up the area to show how someone's mindset is,
Right.
where they're at, where they're at. And I'm not saying they could be lost in left field or anything, but what I'm saying is that it gives you a clear indication of what's important for them. It enables you to communicate with them better.
Mm-hmm.
And number 3 is that's major. Donna, when you ask them, what are your core values and beliefs?
Mm-hmm.
What's important? Because when I was young, believe it or not, I was born, and I used to say, this is how smart I was when I was young and dumb. I was born at 8:09 on a Friday night, 8:09 p.m. Friday night. And I was young enough and I was dumb enough to tell people that I was born for the weekend. I said it, ladies and gentlemen. But see, that gives you a clear mindset that if I'm only focused on the weekend, I'm not going to be worth a hoot during the week,
You know, Jim, that explains so much.
Oh, okay. That took out a lot of gray area out of the picture. I mean, now it's crystal clear, right?
Oh, Lord. Oh, but a really good idea. If you are unsure of the people you're putting together in a mastermind, run these questions by them beforehand.
Oh, yeah.
And then you will get a better sense of the energy of everybody and whether it's going to be a true alliance. That way you can sort and sift, and put them in the right group for their personality type.
Oh, yeah, that's huge, isn't it? I'm glad you said that, Donna. That is absolutely huge. Because if you got 2 extroverts and 2 introverts, you need to mix them up a little bit there,
Right.
And another thing too, that was number 3. The first one, in case you're making notes, is as a child, back in your younger days, what experiences were the most memorable for you? Okay. And the second one, of course, is who is my idol and why do you admire this person? And of course, what are your core values and beliefs? And number 4, what causes are near and dear to your heart? And how can I use my professional credentials to help those causes?
Right.
That tells you a lot. Because if they're not focused on helping others, you need to get them to understand the importance that if they try to bless others, they will be blessed too. Blessing others is priority. Being blessed is secondary, but it will come.
Absolutely.
Because so many people are caught up in their egos and they're only interested in buttering their own bread. And they will always be pushing a chain uphill when it comes to living the life that they were designed to live, entitled to live, and they should live because it's their natural calling.
Right.
You go against your natural calling, you go against your grain, you're not going to have a successful life. I don't care what your bank account is. You're going to look how many rich people that we've known in our lives that are not really happy people.
Right. They're miserable.
Yeah.
They're miserable.
I've never seen a store sell $20 worth of happiness.
If there was a way we could do that, Jim, we could retire in about 5 minutes.
Oh, I know it. Yeah. In fact, they wouldn't let us stay retired. They'd bring us back out. But it's so interesting too, because you can ask them this: what goals do you have in your life that you'd like to accomplish? Whatever it might be. This can be on your bucket list. This can be educational. This can be personal, professional. What are your goals? And let them know that this is confidential.
Right.
This is not something you're going to read to everybody else. This is just good feedback. And be sure and let them see yours. If you're gonna look at theirs, have them look at yours and be honest and open with them. Because that way it really builds trust.
Right.
It builds loyalty, and you'll know whether or not they're a team player. Some people are just not team players.
Right.
Nothing wrong with that. It's just that they're not a team player on your team. They may be an excellent team player on someone else's team.
Exactly. Personality types make a huge difference
Oh, yeah.
in the alliance of a proper mastermind and in putting people together.
You're going to love number 6, Donna. What legacy would you like to leave behind? How would you like your name to be remembered? Ooh.
Wow, that one touches all the feels.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely, it does.
That touches all the feels.
And if someone would ask me, what legacy would you like to leave behind? And I don't really think about that because I look at it like this. As long as people think that I'm a good guy and I've been a good friend and I help people in their hour of need, that's good enough for me. It really is. I mean, I don't really ponder about stuff like that because I just don't.
Right.
I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying I don't. Maybe it's above my pay grade here, but my ability to think and reason. That's a tough question, ain't it?
Well, for me, it's not. I mean, for me, my legacy is literally that I was a good daughter, that I'm a good woman, that I've been a good mother, that I've showed my children that I love them and that I'm there for them no matter what. I'm a good wife and I'm a good friend, and that I've given love and I've received love. And for me, that encompasses it.
Yeah, you're right. And there's one other she needs to add there. She's a great business partner.
Thank you. Well, that goes right back to you because we bring that out in each other, Jim.
We sure do. And we didn't plan it that way. It just came to us.
Right. And
really
we're grateful for it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Because then that's the beauty of once you get your ego and your attitude and all that stuff out of the way and you're focused on the end result as far as being like in this show, we want to make sure we put on a great product that's a blessing to others. That's it.
Right. And we like to have fun.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
And Donna told me if I wanted to sing, I could be a backup singer like I was in the past, which is back up, keep backing up.
Now, if you start to sing, we'll just do this, Jim.
I tell you, if I live to be 300, I don't think I'm going to outgrow that. Because when she pushes the switch there, I mean, I'm gone.
Right?
Doesn't matter how many quarters I got in this thing.
Yeah. Well, I love the next one, and this is applied faith. So faith is a state of mind through which your aims, desires, plans, and purposes may be translated into their physical or financial equivalent. Right? And faith is something that we just have to innately believe in, that it's going to work. Right? We have to, that's why they call, you hear it blind faith, because you can't see it. It's not tangible. It is just going off of your energy in your heart space. That's it. And that it will come together and it will work.
It really will, because applied faith that she's talking about, my goodness gracious, by going the extra mile and being a blessing to others, you're going to be blessed too. That is a principle. It's in the Bible. It's in the universe. It's been proven even by atheists. It's been proven by everybody that has a focus on being a blessing to others. Why do people start charities, nonprofit charities? What's the purpose there?
Right.
Raise money? Their purpose there is to be able to help others who suffer from whatever that affliction is and be a support mechanism for them in their hour of need. That's it.
Absolutely.
Plain, simple, short, sweet, and brief.
Absolutely.
And when you talk about, Napoleon Hill talks a lot about this, going the extra mile. That automatically tells you that this thing that whatever it is you're going to do, it's not going to be easy, okay? You're going to have issues or things that come up. And those issues should be welcomed because number one, you are the person that can solve that issue. Number two, that issue is a warning sign saying, hey, you're missing the bigger picture. That is so true, isn't it, Donna?
It is. And when things go wrong, and it took me a while in my younger years to realize this. But when things go wrong, it's for the right reasons.
Yes, ma'am.
It is the learning experience we need in our lives in which to take that next step and go into that next endeavor that
Mhm.
we are now more knowledgeable than we were before.
Mm-hmm. And Napoleon Hill talks about, he gives a description of going the extra mile, and he says going the extra mile is the action of rendering more and better service than that for which you are presently paid. When you
Right?
go the extra mile, the law of compensation comes into play. Think about that. Not many people talk about the law of compensation.
Right.
And a good example of that is like a farmer planting a field of corn. The little seed of corn. Look how much, corn that one little seed will generate
Or
from what grows.
produce.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good way of looking at it. But look at all the hard work the farmer does. And the farmer wants to have a crop, obviously, to be able to survive and pay his bills and that sort of thing. But also, he's not going to eat all that corn, is he?
No,
He's going to feed others, and he's going to feed animals and things of this nature. So that's very, very important. It's critical.
it is critical. It
Mhm.
is critical. And another thing that is so critical, we've hit on this a little bit yesterday and
Mhm.
and skosh today, but a pleasing personality,
Oh, yeah.
right? So personality is the sum total of one's mental, spiritual and physical traits and habits that distinguish one from all others. And
Mm.
ready for this? It is the factor that
Mm.
determines whether one is liked or disliked by others.
Hmm. It certainly is. That's so important, isn't it?
It is. And, we all have different personalities, and that is absolutely fabulous. We
Hmm.
should have. We are
Hmm.
unique, we have our own identity. But in a mastermind, you have to be with those like minded, like personality people. Otherwise, it won't work. It's like oil and water.
Hmm. Right. Because if you have a pleasing personality, people will be automatically be more relaxed and more open to share ideas with you, because the purpose of a mastermind is to generate energy.
Right.
And oh my goodness, how many times have you and I had a phone call and it's just kind of like you can just feel the electricity in the air around us.
Oh,
It,
absolutely.
yeah.
And our phone calls don't even, I'm pouring more coffee. Sorry.
That's
Um,
okay. She's authorized to drink on the job.
right, right. But most of the time, our phone calls don't even start out that way, Jim.
I know. I know.
We may call each other just to say hi and talk
Mhm.
about a schedule or something that's coming up, and then it goes into
It
boom,
just takes off. Yeah, it
right?
sure
It takes
does.
off into a mastermind.
And the biggest lie we tell each other is, "Hey, you got a minute?"
Oh my God! Don't do that when I'm drinking coffee.
It's more like you got an hour.
Right, right. Hey, you got a few minutes to talk. That's right there. That's our password, our code for an
Yeah,
hour.
yeah. That's our special language we have. But what happens is that the energy just takes over. I'll say something, she'll say something, I'll say something, she'll say something, and we just keep going.
Yep.
And the beauty of it is, it's not about what's in it for us when we're talking.
Right.
That's the key.
Right.
Because if you're looking inward, you'll never look outward. And the
Right.
only way you can grow is look outward.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we don't get upset if Jib says to me, Donna, that wouldn't be a good idea. Here's why.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Yeah.
And I'm a firm believer that when we talk to people and explain our point of view as to why you don't think it would work,
Mhm.
it's really important to explain your thought process behind that
Well, yeah.
so that they understand where you're coming from and
Mhm.
see the broader picture.
Yeah.
And then whether it works or not, then that can be a conversation within itself.
Mhm. Let me give you a good example. The other day, Donna and I were talking, and I get excited and I start, coming up with ideas and all like that. And Donna said, "Well, Jim, I wouldn't really want to say that or go that direction because da 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 da." So, you know what? You're right. But it did not squelch the energy.
No.
it was just like, hey, that's not a good road to take. Let's take this road. It's wider, it's more paved, etc. So that's right. Always look for the higher road in life.
Right.
It
Right.
just is so important. It really is. And the next Napoleon Hill's his number six, excuse me, is personal initiative. My goodness gracious. Personal initiative is a power that inspires the completion of that which one begins. It is the power that starts all action. No person is free until they learn how to do their own thinking and gains and the courage to act on their own. Personal initiative. That is so critical.
It really is because, whew, think
Hmm.
about this. If you're always holding somebody's hand
Mm.
and doing the work for them, then why are they there?
Exactly. And one of the things you've heard me say many, many times in my military career, when I get, promoted up to higher ranks and all like that, be responsible to people. Do not be responsible for them.
Right?
If you do, you enslave them and they're going to know, okay, I don't have to make a decision. I just go to this person and ask them and they'll take care of it for me.
Right.
And it's like one time a young group asked how to spell something. And he had asked me 2 or 3 times on spelling words. I give him the answer. So then I thought, he needs to take his own initiative. I said,
Right.
go look it up in the dictionary. And you know what he said to me? He said, well, how you look up a word in the dictionary if you don't know how to spell it? I said, well, that sounds like one of them personnel kind of problems. Go
Right.
figure it out,
Right. In personal initiative, here's something else. You shouldn't always have to remind somebody
Oh.
in your team to do something. If
Mhm,
you have set the standard of what it is you expect them to do,
mhm.
and then you go through later and see that it's not being done, and it continues to be a habitual problem for somebody on your team in doing their job, then that
Mhm.
is a real problem because they're
Yeah.
not taking that personal initiative.
Mhm. You're exactly right. And Donna, the next one is, that's the glue that holds everything together, isn't it?
It is. It is one of my favorites. Positive mental attitude.
Mm.
Positive mental attitude is the right mental attitude in all circumstances. Success attracts more success, while failure attracts more failure. So, you know, it's just like that saying, misery loves company,
Yeah.
right? And I we've talked about it, Jim. I will not be around people who um, who are just down all the time, who complain all the time, who just rob you of your energy,
Oh, yeah.
because
Oh,
that is
yeah.
not the standard in which I have my life, that my life is based on. So
Amen.
there's no room for me
Mm.
to be in that part of their lifestyle.
Exactly. And the thing about so important about a positive mental attitude is that your subconscious mind will never let you fail.
Right.
Because if you think you can't do something, or if you think that won't work or whatever, your subconscious mind will guide you down the dark path to make sure you don't fail yourself because that's what your mind was set on.
Right.
And remember that the attitude that you have in life will always determine the altitude
Hmm.
in life as far as your goals or whether you reach them or whether you go below zero.
Right.
That's critical. It really
It's
is.
super, super critical.
Yes,
Super
ma'am.
critical. Well, Jim,
Mhm.
let's talk about one that is near and dear to both of us.
Oh,
Go
what's that?
ahead. You
Are we going
know.
to talk about dogs and cats or pets?
Well, my door's shut, so we're safe from my clouder of cats today.
Cloud or cats? Huh? Okay, yeah, I got my door shut and little Dixie's not with me, but we're going to talk about enthusiasm.
Yes.
Oh, how many times have you been in a room with someone and they're talking about something that's in an enthusiastic way and it just catches on
Hmm.
or just kind of like reaches out and grabs you? That's what you want because enthusiasm is really faith in what you believe in action. That's it in a nutshell.
Absolutely. And here's something else about it. If somebody you're talking to
Mhm.
is seems enthusiastic,
Mhm.
but it doesn't reach their eyes.
Mm.
It's it's 9 times out of 10 a facade.
Yes. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I'm going to tell a little story about a guy that came into my manufacturing business, and there was just something about him. He was just too smooth for me. He was wanting me to be involved with a project, us manufacturing some parts for him, and he could do this, he could do that. I mean, he could lead us into the promised land, part the Red Sea, the whole 9 yards,
Mhm.
no problem. And I hate it when a guy tells me, you ask him a question, no problem, because it will always be a problem.
Right.
Ladies, you know that. I learned that the hard way. Anyway, this guy was a little bit too smooth. He had a gold chain around his neck, and he's sitting there and he's like this, and he's like he's the got everything in it, got the world in his hip pocket. And then I thought, okay, he's trying to put me together with cheap glue.
Right.
I'm going to put him together with cheap glue. And I watched his body language because his body language will always tell you the truth. Look at
Yep.
politicians when they lie; they'll touch their nose. Or you think they would know to put your if you're going to lie, put your hands in your pockets or something.
Right.
But I looked at him. I said, "Hey, this sounds great. Can I ask you a question?" He said, "Yeah, sure." I says, "How do you pay your bills?" Uh, yeah, normally in 30 days. His body language told me if I got any money out of him, I better take that money, go straight to Las Vegas, put it on red or whatever, because that's lucky money. His body
Right.
language told me exactly what I wanted to hear. He did not look me straight in the eye and say, this is how I pay my bills, or I pay them every 30 days or net 15, whatever. And
Hmm.
so I looked at him. I said, okay. I said, I'll tell you what, our policy here is that we require 50% down and we'll get started on it. And then 50% when it's done, you pick it up. Oh, okay. He left. And guess what?
Never heard from him again.
Amen. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? I dodged a bullet, saved myself some money, a lot of material time, a lot of labor time, and all of that, because there are people out there like it. Learn how to ask deep, honest, down to earth questions and watch their body language.
Right. And the same goes true for people who are wanting you to pay for everything in their world.
Been there, done that. No more donations in that department.
Absolutely. Well, you need to do this because of this. I mean, I've had it happen to me, obviously, you know. Well, Donna, I mean, think about it from my point of view. I mean, I got bills to pay too. Okay. But where's the mutual benefit,
Mhm. Right.
right? Where's the mutual benefit?
Mhm.
And so, when that kind of situation arises, that is another one that just run.
Yes. Yes.
Just run.
I had a conversation recently with a person, and they wanted me to buy their product and advertise. I said, we're going to be doing the marquees. We'll advertise it on TV and all that. Oh, that's great. I said, well, listen, look at it like this. We're looking for marketing partnerships and relationships. We've covered that for a couple of weeks there with Mr. X, Mr.
Mhm.
Emerson Brantley. And if I buy your product and I advertise it for free, and I do the marquee and I do all this promotion and stuff, that's a win-win-win for you. What's in it for
Right.
me? See, a good marketing relationship, a good partnership, it's got to be good for both parties. Everybody does a little
Absolutely.
give and take. And that was not what he was interested in. So that is why he is not part of our show or part of our life in any
Right.
way.
Absolutely.
And oh my goodness gracious, enthusiasm, we as hammered at, we got to talk about that. Be enthused about what you're doing. Get up in the morning and give thanks
Hmm.
for the heartbeat in your veins, the breath in your lungs. You got some issues or problems in that day, good, because give thanks, because you have the ability to solve that. Do it enthusiastically. And if you keep working at this, you can actually build up a burning desire to solve issues and not be a,
Right.
because a lot of people, oh, issue, don't want to deal with it right now. I'd rather, do something else or not even think about it. And once you do that, you're going to be amazed at how far you can stand up and how far you can go. And you're going to stop. You're going to shine. You really are. I mean,
True
people are going to look
story.
at you because it radiates.
It does. It
It really
does.
does. Mhm. It's a
It
vibration
absolutely,
people pick up on, and you won't even have to say a word.
right. The energy just literally jumps out around you,
Hmm. It sure does.
jumps out around you.
Mm-hmm.
So I love this next one, Jim.
Mm-hmm.
Self-discipline.
I hear that a lot.
If you
It's a
do
good
not,
one.
right? But if you do not control your thoughts,
Hmm.
you cannot control your needs.
Mm. Isn't that the truth?
Self discipline begins with the mastery of thought.
Hmm.
If you do not control your thoughts, you cannot control your needs. Self discipline calls for a balancing of the emotions of your heart with the reasoning faculty of your head.
Oh, yeah.
They have to work in harmony.
Yes, they do. Everything in life is in balance. Everything in life is in harmony. Everything that you do, even if you make a mistake, so what? Forgive
Right.
yourself, love yourself, go on. But most importantly, and this is critical too, admit it to yourself. Okay, I made a mistake, but I'm going to forgive myself. You own it. That puts you in charge. When people are not in charge of their life, they're out of control.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And this next one has been a real struggle for me. It's called accurate thinking.
Oh, Jim,
I,
you're so
I,
silly.
I'm trying to get her to snort, and I guess that this day is not is she's going to be
No, it's
snortless
not a
today.
snort day.
Not a
I'm just
snort
going to say,
day.
nope, it's not a snort
Okay.
day. Maybe
No,
Monday.
but accurate thinking, the power of thought, and it's the most dangerous or the most beneficial power available to man. Depends on how you use it. Now, when you're trying to do a project or you're trying to sell something to someone, or let me use sell something to someone, they say no. Okay, a perfect answer would be, um, do you know someone that might be interested in what I have to offer? Because now you've changed a no to an opinion.
Right.
Because a no today does not mean a no tomorrow.
Right.
It may mean not right now. So when you want to do accurate thinking, always keep your mind focused on the end result, the big picture. And because I've had people refer me to others,
Right.
and when I walk in, all I got to do is just write up the sale. It's already sold.
Mm-hmm.
But see, with accurate thinking, you are focused on the end result. It's so critical because understand that that is a tremendous power. It can be used for good or bad.
Right.
It's just like getting in your car. You can either go north, south, or east or west. The car doesn't matter. You are the mind behind the wheel. You're going to make the determination what direction you're going in.
Mm-hmm.
That is why that is so powerful. Accurate thinking. And with the mastermind principle, guess what? It gives you a lot of feedback and a lot of energy, a lot of ideas to help you make a more complete, accurate thought and
Ab-
process.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Absolutely. And along with that, excuse me, folks, is
Hmm.
controlled attention.
Oh, yeah.
Controlled attention leads to mastery in any type of human endeavor because it enables one to focus the powers of his mind upon the attainment of a definite object uh, and to keep it so directed at will.
Hmm. When you first started reading, I went like this. And, it's so aggravating if you're trying to explain something, you see someone over there
Right?
fiddling around with something. Then that person has a problem with, being able to concentrate and remain focused. And you're going to have to work with that person. And you may not want to put them in a position where they'll fail because if they do not have the ability to focus in on something,
Right.
they do not have the ability to finish that project.
Right. But it's interesting because when we can control the direction of our thought
Mm.
and really focus in, and even if you're the type of person that says, okay, I know I've got to get this done,
Mm.
but I cannot sit here for an entire 2 hours to finish it. That's okay.
Mhm.
Give yourself a break in between,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Oh,
So
yeah.
that energizes you when you come back to it. Just like if you're running into an issue and you
Mhm.
can't get past something that isn't working, step away from it for a minute, walk
Oh,
around,
yeah.
get some
Mhm.
energy going back in your body, and
Mhm.
come back and look at it with fresh eyes. But
Oh,
it
yeah.
is about controlling attention at that moment that you're in it.
Mhm.
So just like when you are in a mastermind and someone's talking to you and you're having that conversation, you know what? You want to give them your undivided attention,
Mhm. Yes, ma'am.
right? You want to control where your thoughts go. So whatever else is going on that you've got to get done today, you've got to let that go and
Mhm.
control right here, right now.
Yes, ma'am. And if you need to take a break, as Donna said, treat yourself. I mean, if it's dessert, a little bite of dessert or whatever, just treat yourself. So I'm going to reward myself for doing all this work, and then I'm going to come back with fresh air in between the ears, as I like to say, and I'm going to hit it.
Right.
That's so critical because I love the way Donna put that, and make sure that you treat yourself. Make sure you love yourself in the process because, hey, some days you're going to be more productive than other days.
Right.
So what?
That's
Some
life.
days some days you're gonna have a better hair day. Like today, I ain't got a good hair day. Looks like I got a calic up here or something. I don't know what it is, what's going on, but I ain't gonna worry about it. Just you know. But I mean, realistically, some days you're gonna be not running on all eight cylinders or firing all eight cylinders. So don't beat yourself up. That's the main thing.
Right. Give yourself
And
grace.
yeah, and number 12. Oh my goodness, we've been talking about this a lot. Teamwork.
Mm,
And we know that's having harmony and cooperation with everyone on our team. And it's very willingly, voluntarily, and it's free. Whenever the spirit of teamwork is dominating the influence in a business or industry, you can't help but hit the bullseye when it comes to being successful.
right on.
And that's it in a nutshell. If you want to be successful, get your team in perfect harmony, regardless what your mission is, and it's going to happen.
Hmm.
Harmonious cooperation is a priceless asset that you can acquire in proportion to your giving. So you want to make sure you give to that team and be a blessing to them. And just like I said earlier about flex time, be able to target the time when people are productive.
Yep.
That's real easy to do and critical, as a matter of fact.
Well,
And we,
and that just helps that mastermind be
mhm,
successful,
yes,
not only for the people who are in it, but for you too, because you
mhm,
are wanting a desired result coming out
mhm,
of that mastermind. Otherwise, you wouldn't have put them together for that new project, et cetera, et cetera.
mhm. I love this next one, Donna. Oh my goodness.
Adversity and defeat. Hello. Many so called failures represent only a temporary defeat that may prove to be a blessing in disguise.
Oh yeah.
Ooh,
How many
does that
times
ever hit
in
home?
Yeah, how many times in life have we ever, wanted this, wanted that, got to have that, and you go down, you look back, sometime later, go like, "Whew, thank goodness I didn't get that.
Right? Dodge the bullet on that one.
Yeah, and and defeat is only permanent when you accept it in your mind.
Right.
If you think you're a failure, you just said, okay, I quit on life because everybody's going to fail.
Mhm.
That's part of the growing process. Because where you try to go through here, it probably wasn't the right path for you.
Right.
And that's just the energy of the universe that's directing your calling, saying, I don't want you to go in that direction. I want you to go over here. That's why you
Absolutely.
make options and not decisions.
Hmm.
Options reduce the stress and allows you to be flexible. Decisions, no, we said we're going to go through that door. We're going to go through that door. We're going to, well,
Right.
good luck with that.
Perfectly said. So I like this explanation that's given. Individual success usually is in exact proportion of the scope of the defeat the individual has experienced and mastered. Many so-called failures represent only a temporary defeat that may prove to be the blessing in disguise,
Oh yeah.
right?
Oh yeah.
And
That's
it's sort of like it can be that way in anything in life. Say you really thought that somebody you were dating for a while was the one, and it didn't work out, and then you go down the road and you find somebody else, and then
mhm.
you know why nothing was really meant to work out, because that wasn't the one person that you were supposed to be with.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And that happens to all of us. I mean,
Sure.
just and there's nothing wrong with the other person or anything like that necessarily. It's just that that's not the right mate for you.
Right.
You know. You know.
Right.
I mean, my case, she might burn the toast every day. Well, I wouldn't be able to put up with that. And I'm being a little facetious, but one of the things we're going to talk about the next one, and we run a little bit short on time, is creative vision, and that is so critical
Ooh,
because when that energy gets flowing, and
yes.
everybody is in cooperation, and oh my goodness, you got perfect harmony and teamwork. You better put your sunglasses on, son, because lights are coming on and they're bright.
Absolutely. And 90% of Gemini's masterminds are via phone.
Oh yeah.
And you know what? We don't need to see each other to hear the smiles, to feel the energy, to see each other's eyes just dancing with excitement,
Mhm.
because it comes out in our voice.
Oh yeah. See, we're actually related. We're siblings by different mothers.
Okay.
Well, we are, right?
Well, yeah,
Uh,
sort of, kind of.
and yeah, kind of. And your health, that's a big part of what
Oh,
makes you successful. Being able to practice a healthy lifestyle, set standards for yourself, because
mhm.
you can't run a marathon if you're 20 pounds overweight and you got, health issues and things of this nature. You really can't. And I'm using that simply as an example because sound health begins with a sound health mind. You got to be
Yep.
healthy up here. And just as financial success begins with prosperity conscious, okay, you got to be healthy in your mind. And Donna, let's
Mhm.
let's let's wrap that up right there because we're at 52 minutes, almost 53. We're running out of time. But Donna Guinois is a high energy coach. And I've got all these mosquitoes over here flying around my corner somewhere. I don't know where they showed up. But anyway, Donna will give you a complimentary 30-minute consultation on things that are blocking your energy. If you feel like, well, I just can't seem to get this thing won't cranked up and get it in gear and get it going, get in touch with Donna. Just email her there at High Energy right now. Donna will be more than happy to just ask you questions,
Right.
find out where your energy is, what's blocking it. Because as you like to say, it's a person, a place, or a thing, and we've
Or a
experienced that,
combination thereof.
and we've experienced that one too.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. In personal life and in business. And so it really does come down to those three things. So, if you feel like you need a little help, please reach out. It would be my greatest pleasure to
Mhm.
talk with you and help you.
Absolutely. And finally, I also want to put this up. We do this all the time, but The Stranger's Secret by Earl Nightingale. It's on YouTube. You could sit down and just listen to it like it's actually a podcast on YouTube. And you can just listen to his words. And you're
Hmm.
going to be amazed at how your mind, with your eyes are closed, how the wheels are going to start turning. And it's going to open up some doors in your mind that you didn't think of before. It's going to encourage you to get creative. It's going to encourage you to get in action. It's going to encourage you to get to enjoy the next level of life that you are entitled to. And I'm pointing at you with my bad finger too. I was supposed to get the stitches out there yesterday, and they looked at us, not yet. Okay, well, that's what I get.
Right.
But on behalf of Donna and myself, we want to really just thank you so much for being a blessing to us because you've blessed us with the number of minutes this shows what is in astronomical figures. We grew by 38.8% or something like that just from February 9th through March the 10th. And then our number of viewers grew by 17.7% during that same period of time. And just between me and you, it was all Donna's fault. No, but we're so honored and blessed, and we just want to return the blessing to you. We love our viewers, even though we may not know you, but we love you as a human being. We pray for you because everybody needs prayer in their life. Everybody needs love in their life. Everybody needs to know that they belong, that they are somebody.
Yep.
And you are somebody. If someone is telling you you're not somebody, forgive them. Love them and forgive them. And go on. It might be a person, place, or thing, or a combination of three that Donna talks about, but you need to find your calling in life. You were not born and raised and put here on planet Earth to be anybody's slave or to be talked down to or to be cheated out of the true riches of life. That's a universal promise, just like you're entitled to sunlight and oxygen. We all are. And Donna, that pretty much says it all right there for me.
It really does. It really does. Thank you, folks. It has been an honor to be with you this week. And we look forward to coming back next week. We have got an incredible show that Jim and I are so excited about.
Oh, yeah. And you want us to tell you what it's about? We will on Monday.
All right, folks. Have a beautiful, beautiful day.
You bet. We'll see you next week. Thank you again. Bye-bye.